Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here, and today I wanted to share a story with you guys, and I wanted to share the story of my last time as a youth football coach and what I consider to be the best game I ever had as a coach. And there's a lot of games that really stick out in my mind, but as a head coach of a youth team, this was by far our best game. It was the last game that I'd coached for that team, that program, and it was the best game we had. It was honestly, in that season, we had a great season that year. We went 6-2 and lost to two really close games, but our 6 victories, we owned everybody. And so this was my 3rd year with this team, and the program had really been, through a lot, and through my last year there, we really got on top with our youth program, and got a great year going with some success there. Anyway, you may see me looking at some notes here. I did write down kind of everything that happened in that game, just from what I can remember, and plus I have my call sheet from that game, kind of remembering some plays that we were doing. Anyway, just kind of thinking back to that very last week of that. And one thing I do want to say before I get too far into this is I'm not considering this the best game I've ever coached. In my current career as a 4-year coach, this is probably the best game that I always go back to. But I'm really hoping to have, obviously, over the next many years that I'm a coach, hopefully I'll have a lot more better games than this one, and I just keep improving on what I do as a coach. Anyway, so obviously I said this is my 3rd year with this team. Practice, I remember that week, we only practiced 2 times a week because obviously I was with the other programs and always practicing every day with the main school programs, but with our youth team we only had time to practice for 2 times a week, and it was always after practice, so it was kind of late in the afternoon. And normally you get down late in the season, in October and November, you start to lose a lot of light, so practices start to get cut short. And so it was always hard for me as a coach to be able to get out there and, after you've been teaching and coaching all day, and then finally get out there for the last bit. And this was actually my favorite part of my job, was get to coach these young kids. It was just a lot of fun to be the head coach of them and be able to lead them to success, to a little bit of success. But practice that week just wasn't that good. The team as a whole was not a very good practice team. There was always a lot of distractions within practice. I remember running them a lot, just for being frustrated sometimes, but in the end they were my best team. I always gave my best efforts as a coach towards them, and putting a game plan together for them to succeed. And one thing that we did that week, and hopefully I've got some clips of that week at practice, where we were kind of installing our blitz, or we had a double-edged blitz package that we put in for one of their best plays. This other team we were played us really good in the first game we played them that year. We ended up beating them in a real close game at our house, but we had to go to their place for the last game of the year. And so we come up with this double-edged blitz, and we had called it, I believe, Stab Sam Cobra, I believe some name like that. But it was essentially a corner and outside linebacker blitz to kind of stop them and hit their best player in the alley when he'd get a toss play out to him or a sweep. We were going to dial that blitz up whenever we thought it was coming. And I made the call a few times, and we worked it in practice a little bit. It kind of messed with our coverage a little bit, so it was a real big gamble for us. We would be losing a corner and an outside linebacker on that play, putting 2 of our best players on their best player, and it was a big gamble, but it did pay off later in the game. Anyway, other things leading up in that week in practice, I had announced to the team that we were going to do a pink out game. And so we had our breast cancer awareness game, our very last game, in October. And so that was kind of the kids were so excited about the pink out game, and it was crazy. I didn't expect them to eat that up as well as they did, but they loved it. And that was probably one of my better ideas, to just break out there at the last part of the season and say, hey, we're doing this. We said we would have gear for everybody. I gave our Booster Club bought pink wristbands for all of them, so everybody had those as well. And then all the other kids had towels and all the fun stuff, obviously. Anyway, leading up to that night's that game, it was at 11 o'clock, and I always tried to leave a little bit early because I knew we would always have kids showing up late, and I was the bus driver. I was the only one on the bus driving the big trip bus all the way down. It was about an hour and a half drive to go play this team, and it is different with this school. We actually transported all of our kids on a bus to the game site rather than usually how, probably if you remember when you were a youth player, usually your mom or dad, grandma, grandpa would take you to the game. Well, we actually transport all our kids to the game. And so I was the bus. So I was driving the bus, and as we get closer there, I always tried to take my time driving. I didn't want to always get there way too early or way too late. I try to get there just with enough time for us to get off the bus, get on the field, get warmed up, go play. I don't like a whole lot of sitting around time. I like our kids to be focused. Even though that group in itself on the bus ride just didn't feel that they were focused. I had the music going for them, just like, I don't know, playing like the top hits on the radio on the bus. And they're just kind of, I just remember they were kind of annoying me. They were like, change the station to blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, guys, I can't do this. Like, I'm focused on the road. Like, and I ended up eventually turning it to the station they wanted. And they loved that. But then as we pull up to the school, this was the moment that I knew we were going to walk on the field and we were going to kick that other team's butt. And what happened, and I will never probably experience this ever in my coaching experience ever again. And I experienced it in my third year, but it was so awesome what our kids did. I don't know who started this on the bus, but they started chanting. We pull up to the school, so as I'm pulling into the school with the bus, someone on that bus starts chanting, kill, 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 and then they're all, for like 30 seconds it felt like, they're all just chanting. They're all chanting, kill, 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 kill. And I mean, I was just like, I loved it. I was like, all right, I was like, they're ready. I had my doubts about that team, sometimes about their focus level, but in that moment, I knew they were ready. So it was a lot of fun to see that. Anyway, getting to the game, as far as how we started out, we scored. We took the ball first, and we scored on our very first drive. We marched it right down and scored. I can't really remember what play we scored. I believe, if I have it marked right, we scored on the play plow to truck right, or truck left, I should say. Truck toss to the left play. And then the very next drive, one of our defensive ends hit their. We had the double-edged blitz called, and a guy that wasn't even, he was a part of the play, he was a part of the blitz, but he wasn't one of those edge blitzers. He was the defensive end to that side. He hit their best player, and he fumbled the ball, and he went down and did not get back up the rest of that game. I think he came in kind of real late, but we kind of shook the kid. I felt bad for the kid because we really game plan to play that kid. He unfortunately went down and I think he came back later in the game. I remember, patting that kid's shoulder after the game for their team. He's a pretty good player. Anyway, so we get down there and force a fumble, get a fumble recovery, and get it right back down there on our 10-yard line and go score again. And so they ended up scoring twice in the game. At halftime, we knew what plays were really working for us. We had ISO right, play ISO. Our fullback, we were just hitting hard off the ball. Our fullback, our F as we call him, he's the sniffer back, kind of an H-back player. He was leading up there through the ISO and just taking out linebackers constantly and just letting our running backs go. So he was doing a heck of a job. He probably won us the game just with the sheer number of blocks he was able to maintain and allow us to get 3 and 4 yards of carry and bust a couple big plays and keep drives alive. We ended up scoring 24 points that game. We won 24-14. little detail that I remember about that game. They would try to line up because our favorite play was truck toss, and so we would toss the play out to our best player, and our best running back, he could hit it to the sideline and be gone on any play. And so the other teams always did this to us. They'd load the box to the outside, so they'd try to force us to run inside. And this was really the first time in this season we were able to I was able to look at their defense and say, all right, we're about to run right there where they have the fewest players. Like naturally every defense has sort of a bubble. And so those defenses were changing. They were loading guys up. And whenever they load guys up to the outside, we hit ISO in the middle, and we just keep hitting it over and over and over again. We actually had another play where we lined up an empty and motioned our running back in. That play worked once, I believe. It was tear right. Even we had up here, I kept thinking, like, did we do a whole lot of passing that game? The only two pass plays we had installed were smash and quick. And we actually completed quick, it looks like on here, because I've got our notes kind of on here. All the little green check marks were all successful, like big time plays that I would always come back to. So kind of like when I'm going through and checking through some of this, I'm sitting here calling plays during I had to restart my camera. I went over 12 minutes and it cut me off. So I think I left off with talking about how I kind of call plays, and when something big happens in the game, I make a little Sharpie mark by the play. So kind of our best play, it looks like we scored on plow tube truck left and ISO right, Pro 3 ISO right. We scored on those plays, and then every check mark I put after that were kind of big plays that I needed to kind of pay attention to and come back to, plays they couldn't stop. It looks like on here we had some passing plays go well. We had Pro 2 quick. We only had 2 pass plays kind of installed for this game. We had several more throughout the season, but quick was one of our best plays all year. Passing wise, we didn't pass the whole ball a whole lot. We were definitely more of a running team. We were probably 90-10 on running. We'd only pass if we really had to. And we had smash, which I don't think we ever ran in the game. Most times I look at stuff like this and I'm like, I can even say, let's see, how many plays I actually have on here? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plays. And that's really all I ran. And some of these were kind of late put in throughout and that's really my goal, is to only have 10 or 12 possible plays. Plus you can flip these left and right. I always did that as well. Anyway, but once we were able to find basically every weakness in their defense that they had, and it was just a good. We were just able to dominate from the point of attack. Every weakness they had, the ISO play worked great. With the fullback was able to lead up there, make several big blocks on a lot of their linebackers, and we were able to just keep pounding them for 4, 5, 6 yards at a time. And it was just an overall great game by my kids. But yeah, this is just fun to go back and look at. But anyway, we ended up winning the game 24-14, and going out with a win. Maybe I can film this for the last time without my camera turning off for some reason. I don't know what's up with it. Anyway, going out with a win was the best feeling, and I just want to say thank you to all of you guys watching, everybody that supported me through my coaching career. I want to thank, especially for that last season I had there, just thank all the parents, administrators, kids, the players I had, other coaches, assistant coaches I had. It was just a great overall season that we really wrapped up with a great win. And I remember going home and trying to leave there. It was kind of hard. Their head coach was trying to talk my ear off. I talked to him for probably 20 minutes, it seemed like. We just kind of talked about the game and just talked about what we did well, and it was kind of a neat experience just to be able to talk to him and we ended up talking like months later. We called each other, and I think I called him about scheduling another game for next year, and we talked about the game again, and he was just saying how good we did. And it was kind of nice to hear that, and I just reassured him like his kids were the best we had faced all year, and it was just an overall good game. But I remember going home, me and Amber, I think we went out to eat that night and kind of celebrated, and it was just like, it was the best feeling. And then the next day, the next 2 days we get back to school, I threw an ice cream party for all my kids because we went out with a big win, and we turned in all our equipment that day, and I fed them all ice cream while they played on the football field. So it was just a cool experience. I'm glad I got to remember, go back and kind of revisit these memories with you guys. If you stayed here all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, definitely let me know what you liked about it. If you want to hear me talk more about this, definitely let me know. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.